So today, inshallah, I'm going to be making maqluba, or as the Lebanese say, maqluba, which is basically upside down rice. Now there's many variations. There's also already on my blog a chicken maqluba and a meat maqluba. Today's one's going to be maqluba version 2.0. Just a little bit of a change, and inshallah you guys will like it. It's quite simple in its ingredients and it's not as difficult as people think. So peel the aubergine. You don't have to peel it like 100%. Usually I make strips of one strip where the skin is off, one strip where the skin is on. But these aubergines are quite old. I've been meaning to make maqluba for 2 weeks. So I removed the skin and cut it around an inch thick. I think this is an inch, right? Inch? Yes. And now we're going to put them out, align them on a tray, and I'm going to put salt on them. So just pour the salt on them and be generous, and then give it around 10 minutes. You'll see that liquid has come out of the aubergines, which you can then dry out before you fry. In the meantime, I'm going to rinse my rice under running water and then throw it out and redo that until it becomes clear, and then I'm going to leave this to soak. Now, back when I wrote my initial recipe, I didn't have a pressure cooker, and now that I do, I might as well utilize it. So don't worry, if you don't have a pressure cooker, you can always utilize, you can always do this and use the old method that I had on my previous recipe. So in my pressure cooker, I'm adding, well, it's not really mine, it's a shared pressure cooker. Let me just be politically correct. Although I bought it for my mom and I ended up using it more. But in the pressure cooker, so in there I'm going to add cardamom and a few bay leaves, and then we're going to add our water on top. So bismillah. I mean, it doesn't matter how much water you're going to add. For a pressure cooker, it's usually at minimum 150 mils. And then we're going to put that on high heat, and we're going to cover that, and after around 10 minutes of it first whistling, it doesn't really whistle, it kind of like releases steam. So just 10 minutes from that time, we're going to switch it off and release the pressure, and we'll be ready to use our meat. So in the pot that you're going to be cooking up maqluba, we're heating up some olive oil, and we're going to add our minced meat. And we're going to cook this until the minced meat is browned. The meat has now browned, mashallah. We're going to season it, and you're going to season as you go along. So we're seasoning this meat, then we're going to season the cubed meat when it comes out. So we're going to add salt, black pepper, and of course cinnamon. That's the basic Lebanese spices things that they use, really. If you're ever in doubt, that's what you should use. And we're going to mix this up. Once we've left, we're going to leave it for another minute before we remove this and set it aside. So we're going to set this aside, and then we'll be ready to use it soon. So back to our aubergines. As you can see, well, it's hard maybe for you to see, but they look really sweaty, like they've just gone to a really hard workout in the gym. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap them dry, and when you dab them dry, just talk to them and say, don't worry, it's okay, it was worth it. Look at all that. And we're heating up our oil, ready to fry them. So I've been heating up the oil. I'm going to test it with a small aubergine. Bismillah. Let's see how hot the oil is. So that can tell us the oil needs a little bit longer. So whilst I'm waiting for the heat on the oil to increase, I'm going to add some more olive oil into the same pot that we cooked our minced meat, because our pressure cooker has finished and we're ready to give some colour. We're ready to give some colour to the meat that we just pressure cooked. We're going to reserve this meat water. I'm going to put that into our thing. And we're just going to brown our meat and give it some seasoning. So whilst the meat's browning, you can see that the oil has become nice and hot, so we're going to add some other aubergine pieces, obviously a batch at a time, until it becomes nice and brown. This tiny one, because that's the colour we kind of want them, because we put that in first, it's obviously browned first. So we're just going to make sure it's brown on both sides. This side needs a bit more, so I'm just going to leave it in there like that. And then we're going to remove this and put it on some kitchen paper and let it soak up excess oil. And we'll turn these around. That's the colour we're looking for. And we're going to do this for all our... Now I've removed my seasoned meat cubes and put it with its friend, the minced meat. And if you thought that you were going to get away with a video without a sunnah smile, you were pretty much mistaken. That's some interesting aubergine sunnah smile for you. So we fried off all our aubergines and we're letting them soak up excess oil. We've got our rice which we've drained, and we're going to add to this rice the reserved minced meat. Now when you're mixing this, be really gentle, you don't want to break the rice, so just gently give this all a good mix. In the same pot that we cooked our meats, we're going to add a little bit of the rice just to coat the bottom layer. So as you can see, we've done a really thin, even layer just to coat the bottom of the pot. Now we're just going to add the meat cubes that we had done, just a few, because we want to reserve some for decoration. So just add half of some meat. And now the fun part. What we need to do is get our aubergines, and we're going to form almost like this. Keep the sides of the aubergine up and a bit of it on the bottom so that it can form a hole all the way around. It's hard for me to explain, it's easier for me to show you. So what you want to do is you want to sit them next to each other and a little bit of an overlap. Half of it to be on over the rice and half of it to be up the pot on the sides. Let me show you once I'm done. That way I can have two hands to do this. So as you can see, all the way around, half is covering the bottom of the pot and half is going on the top. Now, the reason we slide them on the top is because at the end, when you turn this upside down, the sides of the aubergines is what's going to help kind of keep it all in shape. Usually, I will want to cover this part as well, but I have to admit, I ate one piece. I only ate the piece because I wanted to taste to see if the aubergines were okay. So I have to put my hand up. I shouldn't have eaten that piece, because that part, ideally I would have wanted to cover it, but it's not really a big deal. So now, as you can see, I don't know if the lighting's any good, but that's how we want it to look like all the way round. Now we're going to top this part with our rice. As you can see, our rice is in the middle, protected by, I wouldn't say a cage, because then it sounds like it's like you're a prisoner, but it's protected by, I don't know what's, a wall, but then a wall has bad connotations because we don't have any trumps in our maqluba, so it's protected by something anyway. Alright, so now we're going to add our liquid, which is we were going to use from our meat that we pressure cooked. And for every cup of rice I use 1.5 cups of water. So for this dish I use 2 cups of rice, so that means it's going to be 3 cups of water. Well done. So I'm taking water from the pressure cooker water that we reserved, and in goes 3 cups of water. Now one of the cups I'm going to add a chicken stock cube. You don't have to add that, but I feel like it adds more flavour. So just dissolve 1 cube in one of the waters. When you put your water, 3 cups, depending obviously on the amount of rice you've made, you should see that the water is slightly covering the rice, and that's how you want it. So if it's not enough, then you know that you need a bit of more water. Now I've turned on the heat and I'm going to keep it on low to medium. And don't forget, do you remember the rice that we put at the first layer? We want the water to get to it. So we're just going to give our pot a little shake just to make sure that the water has gone behind and underneath, so it cooks the first layer of rice. So just give it a little shake just to make sure that happens, and obviously not to ruin the whole structure. Now we're going to let this water come to a boil. Once it starts bubbling from the top, we're going to cover it and let it cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, maqluba? So it's starting to bubble. I'm going to cover it and bring it low heat and let it cook away. Goodbye. Whilst my maqluba is cooking, I've heated up some oil so I can brown my toppings. You don't have to do this, but you can do if you want. Bismillah. And you want to keep mixing it until it gains some colour, and then we're going to put this on some kitchen paper to absorb the excess oil. And this colour is brown enough. You don't want to go over too much and then make it super brown. So now I'm going to transfer these. Also browning off some pine nuts. This one's super quick, hardly take a minute. And now they're just going to chill, and we're nearly ready to check up on our maqlubi. So it's been 15 minutes, so bismillah, I'm going to uncover this, and I've got my fork ready just to fluff it up and see the situation underneath. Bismillah. MashaAllah, bismillah. What I'm going to do, mashallah, the rice is nearly there. To cover it with a towel underneath, put the lid. I'm going to give it 3 more minutes with heat, then turn it off and leave it for another 5 to 7 minutes on its own without any heat. So I've got my serving dish ready. I've let this rest for around 10 minutes without the heat. Now, bismillah, I'm going to remove it, and then I'm going to use 2 hands and this pot upside down onto here and let it just sit for another 5 minutes. Okay, so let me give you a tip whilst this is sitting upside down like this. Ideally, you should have a pot that the handles are below the rim of your pot. That way this would be touching, it will be touching the serving dish, because we don't want this gap, because that kind of ruins the shape. But it's happened now, and I don't know if it will stay up, but we'll see, inshallah. So I'm going to leave this sit for around 5 minutes until we're ready to lift it up. As you can see, the rice has come out from the sides, and that's something that I wouldn't have really wanted, but khair, inshallah. Let's see how it goes. It's come out, alhamdulillah. I'm going to top this with the extra meat that we had left over, really gently, and the pine nuts and the almonds, and then I'll show you the final thing. And that is your final maqlubi. I sprinkled a little bit of parsley on top. Alhamdulillah, it turned out okay. I mean, it could look prettier than this, but alhamdulillah. What I would do next time is make more of the aubergines, because that way I can fill up all these gaps. And inshallah, I'll be putting up this recipe soon. Whoever made it to the end, and this is how your rice will look once it's all tipped over and served with yogurt or a salad or whatever you prefer.